Hi, boys and girls. I'm Mima. Who said that? And today, I'm here with Honey. She's dressed in her shark outfit so she can help you with opinion writing. Honey would like to tell you that the first sentence in an opinion paragraph should hook the reader's attention. Boys and girls, just as a fisherman uses a hook to catch a fish, writers need to hook their reader. Honey says, let's get started on opinion writing. Okay, boys and girls, I'm sure you had a great discussion with your teacher as I did with my students. So now it's time to write our forgiveness essay. So, what do we think the title's going to be? You guessed it, forgiveness. Forgiveness. All right. We've watched a few videos and took notes on that. And then we had a very rich discussion in the classroom where you gave me some ideas of how you forgive. And we have done our brainstorming sheet. And we are going to use our step up to writing and our brainstorming sheet to help us write our essay. Now this is the second opinion essay that we are doing in our 100 Dresses unit. And so we've already written one before, so if you need to go back to your It Is Good to Be Different and take a look at the format there, that will help you with it. Alright, so we're going to be writing our introduction. And if you notice, boys and girls, we knew that this was opinion essay, as we said before, because look at our yellows. It says, it is better to forgive than to harbor anger because, and then we came up with our 3 reasons. So, it is better to forgive than to harbor anger because we know that that is an opinion, and better helps us, that adjective helps us. That comparison there. Okay, we need our introduction, and remember we started out with a hook. And at the beginning of the year, we like the have you ever hook. And since this is the beginning of the year for my students, we're going to start out with our have you ever hook. So remember, we're going to indent. Have you ever? Have you ever? And we said that we need to use our word forgiveness in our hook because the second sentence we're going to use, we're going to define forgiveness. We're going to define forgiveness. Okay? Have you ever, and some of the students told me, have you ever forgiven somebody? Have you ever forgiven somebody? And remember what we said, we're going to skip lines because this is a rough draft, and that way when we go back to edit, we can write up here in this blank line. Have you ever forgiven somebody? And that's a question. That's to grab the reader's attention. And since we used our word forgiven as part of forgiveness, we can then define forgiveness. Forgiveness is. Now remember, when we brainstormed, we used our own definition that we came up with. And we said, forgiveness is giving love to someone who has hurt you. So that was our definition. So that we're going to use that here. Forgiveness is giving love to someone who has hurt you. Okay, and now we need our topic sentence. And we know that in 4th grade we use the power of 3, and we need our topic sentence that is an opinion. So we're going to use part of our sentence starter here. It is better to forgive in our topic sentence. And our being different essay, we said it is good to be different for 3 reasons. So here we're going to say it is better Now notice, boys and girls, I'm just copying from the prompt here. It is better to forgive than to harbor anger. It is better to forgive than to harbor anger. And now I'm going to use for 3 reasons. Okay, and now we already have our 3 reasons. Remember, these are in the petals of our violet for 3 reasons. So we like the transitional word first. I believe that's what we used. And boys and girls, you should probably tab your essay so that we don't have to keep flipping like that. I'm going to put a pen there so I can find it. We used first. So boys and girls, if you are doing this activity later in the year, you may have already come up with your own favorites and some more descriptive favorites like initially. But in my class, we're using first. And we indent because it's our first yellow. So first, and which one am I going to do first? I decided that we were going to use this one right here. We said it is better to forgive than to harbor anger, because if you don't, it might ruin your friendship. We learned that in the Forgiveness Cubbies video. First, it is better. Now notice, boys and girls, I'm only copying exactly, how I wrote in that violet. First, it is better to forgive than to harbor anger. And now I indented, but now I'm going to skip a line and go back to the margin. Because if you don't, comma, it might ruin your friendship. It might ruin your friendship, the friendship, whatever you want to put. It might ruin the friendship. And then we discussed some reasons why, and you offered me some ideas. So I'm just going to use some of the ideas that I heard students say. And if you don't like what I have here, if you have your own idea, boys and girls, make sure that you use your own ideas. But one idea I heard was, for example, and remember, boys and girls, for example. Remember, right now in the beginning of the year, we're using for example and also for our transitional words, our introductory words for our reds. But if this is later on in the year and you're doing this, you might want to change these up. For example, and one student told me, I got mad at my friend because she pulled my hair, but I forgave her because I still wanted to be friends. So boys and girls, maybe you've never had that happen to you. Maybe your friend did not pull your hair, but they did something else and the friendship was very valuable to you and you forgave them. So boys and girls, I want you to use your own personal example, but for right now, I'm using the example that a student gave me. So she said, for example, I got mad at my friend I got mad at my friend because she pulled my hair. But, so we put our comma there for our conjunction. But I forgave her because, and then you may have lines on the back, boys and girls, but I don't, so I'm just going to start at the top. But I forgave her because I still wanted to be friends. Period. Now we need one more red, and that was our also. So our next introductory word for our red is also. And one student told me, once my sister hit me hard, but she said she was sorry, so I forgave her because she's my best friend. Okay, boys and girls, if you did not have an example like that, you think of maybe something that your best friend may have done to hurt you, because we all do things sometimes that hurt others and we don't mean it. It's not on purpose. Sometimes things happen to us. So you use your example, and I'm going to use the example that my student gave me. Also, once my sister hit me hard, once my sister hit me hard, but she said she was sorry, so I forgave her. Okay, very good. All right, and then you can add, she is my best friend, if you want to add that. All right, so that is our first yellow, and we have our two reds, and now we go to our next one. And we said our introductory word that we like was next. If you like a different word, remember you got to go ahead and indent. If you like a different word, you use a different word, but for right now, I'm going to use next. And then the second one, that my second petal, let's see, I think it was this one. It is better to forgive than to harbor anger, because the person who hurt you may have done it by accident. And we all know, boys and girls, that things happen by accident. So, and when things happen by accident, we say we're sorry and we forgive. So next, it is better to forgive, and I'm just copying my starter sentence now. Next, it is better to forgive than to harbor anger, and now I indented here, so I'm going back to my invisible margin here. Than to harbor anger, because the person who hurt you, because the person who hurt you may have done it by accident. May back to the margin, may have done it by accident. May have done it by accident. Okay, so now we need our two red examples. So we have for example and also. For example, comma. So one of the boys told me that he was playing a game of soccer with his friend, and the friend kicked the ball and it accidentally hit him on the chest. Okay, so he didn't do it on purpose. It was an accident. For example, my friend kicked the soccer ball. For example, my friend kicked the soccer ball and it hit my chest. And it hit my chest. It was an accident, so I forgave him. It was an accident, so I forgave him. And I know, boys and girls, I just did 2 sentences, but I felt like that would have been too long and too many sentences put together with too many conjunctions if I would have kept that all one sentence. So I broke it up into 2 sentences so that I could explain my example there. Also, and another student told me that his friend borrowed his monster truck and didn't exactly know how to drive it and accidentally ran him over. Was it his foot that he ran over? I'm not sure. But we're going to use that as an example. Also, my friend accidentally ran me over with my monster truck. Now, boys and girls, you might have a friend that borrowed one of your toys and did something just like in the video where the one brother borrowed the other brother's Legos and accidentally broke them. Sometimes that happens. People borrow your toys and accidentally break them. So, you may be able to think of an example like that. I'm going to use this example. Also, my friend, and you can name your friend if you want. I'm just going to put my friend, accidentally ran me over. Accidentally ran me over with my monster truck. With my monster truck, so I forgave him. So I forgave him. And notice, boys and girls, we keep using that word accidentally, because notice up here in our topic sentence it says that the person may have done it by accident. So now we keep reinforcing that accident or accidentally. So I forgave him. And now we have our last sentence. And for our last sentence, we are going to again go back to our brainstorming sheet, which was our little violet here. And we have, it is better to forgive than to harbor anger because holding a grudge only hurts you. Holding a grudge only hurts you. So for our last introductory word, we're going to use finally. If you like a different word, you go ahead and use that. It is better to forgive, finally. It is better to forgive, then to harbor anger, then to harbor anger, because holding a grudge, holding a grudge only hurts you. Only hurts you. And remember, boys and girls, we talked about that when you forgive somebody, it doesn't make them right, what they did right. It only sets you free from bad feelings and lets you move on. They have to own what they did, and you have to own what you did. And you may have done absolutely nothing, but holding in anger is not good for us. We need to think good thoughts. Holding a grudge only hurts you. For example, here's our for example. For example, and we said staying angry all the time can make us feel tired. And I remember in one of those videos, the boy said it makes your spirit tired. It makes us feel tired. For example, staying angry all the time all the time makes us tired. And boys and girls, if I'm writing too fast, make sure you pause the video so that you can catch up. Pause the video so that you can write down your own ideas. And now we need an also, because we need one more. Also, and I thought of something that we didn't talk about in class, but you know, when you're always thinking about past hurts, you're not enjoying what's going on around you at the time. And you might miss out. So also, if we are always thinking about past hurts, also, if we are always thinking about past hurts, we will miss out on all the good things that are happening in the present. We will miss out on all the good things that are happening in the present. Okay, so let's see. We have our introduction, we have our first, next, and finally, and now we need our conclusion. So if we go back and we look at that first essay, opinion essay, the conclusion that we wrote is, people agree it is good to be different in 3 ways. And I remember discussing that we didn't want to keep using that word 3, so we could say many, but I think we like the people agree, because this is an opinion essay, and we are trying to convince people that it is better to forgive than to harbor anger. So let's use that people agree. So we're going to indent for our conclusion. People agree it is better to forgive then to harbor anger. And then now we're going back to the margin. And instead of saying for 3 reasons, we're going to say for many reasons. Because remember, boys and girls, we're writing our introduction backwards. And so here we have, it is better to forgive than to harbor anger for 3 reasons. We want to restate that, but we want to switch it up. Use some different words, maybe word orders. So we wrote, people agree it is better to forgive than to harbor anger for many reasons. And then again, we have our definition. But you remember our definition from our anchor posters. And we said that we would use that because we can't use the same definition that we used in our introduction. In our introduction, we said forgiveness is giving love to someone who has hurt you. And on our anchor posters, it said forgiveness is letting go of hurt to make room for love. Letting go of hurt to make room for love. Okay, so now we need our final thought, and this is a final thought of an opinion essay. And the final thought we had here was, so be proud of who you are. This was when we wrote our essay on being different. People agree it is better to forgive than to harbor anger for many reasons. Forgiveness is letting go of hurt and making room for love. Let's see, what can we use for the end? People who forgive are nice to have around. When you forgive your friends, they will forgive you. Forgiving people make the best friends. So call a friend and forgive them today. Which one do you like, boys and girls? Forgiveness is a great character trait to have. I think I like that one. Forgiveness is a great character trait to have. Boys and girls, if you have one that you like better, you go ahead and you write the one that you have. But for right now, we need to go back and we need to color our words and sentences green, yellow, and red. So make sure you have your crayons. Okay, boys and girls, remember what we were doing with our colors? We were boxing our introduction in green, and I could only find my light green, so I'm using light green. But we were boxing our introduction in green, and then we were boxing that power of 3 word, and we were putting a dot just before our topic sentence. It is better to forgive than to harbor anger for 3 reasons. So I'm going to put that green dot right there. Okay. Have you ever forgiven somebody? Forgiveness is giving love to someone who has hurt you. It is better to forgive than to harbor anger for 3 reasons. Make sure you go back and you reread to make sure that you don't have any errors. First, okay, so we colored a yellow dot in front, and then we boxed and colored our first introductory word. First, it is better to forgive than to harbor anger, because if you don't, it might ruin your friendship. And then our for example and our also were our two red. So for example, we colored that red. For example, I got mad at my friend because she pulled my hair, but I forgave her because I still wanted to be friends. Also, and there's my next example. Also, once my sister hit me hard, but she said she was sorry, so I forgave her. Alright, then we indented. That's for our next yellow. So we put a yellow dot there, and then we boxed our introductory word. I used next. You might have used something different. Next, it is better to forgive than to harbor anger, because the person who hurt you may have done it by accident. Okay, and then we have our for example. So we're going to do that in red. And if you're using pencil, you want to color lightly so we can still read it. For example, my friend kicked the soccer ball and it hit my chest. It was an accident, so I forgave him. Also, here's my next example. Also, my friend accidentally ran me over with my monster truck, so I forgave him. Okay, now we indented for our next yellow. And we're going to box finally and color it. Finally, it is better to forgive than to harbor anger, because holding a grudge only hurts you. And now we need two examples. For example, staying angry all the time makes us tired. Also, here's my next example. Also, if we are always thinking about past hurts, we will miss out on all the good things that are happening in the present. All right, and now we have our conclusion. So I'm going to go ahead and box my conclusion in green, just like we did on the last essay. And I'm going to box 3, but we didn't use 3 because we wanted to make it many reasons instead of 3 reasons. Okay, so I'm going to box many. And this was our topic sentence restated. People agree it is better to forgive than to harbor anger for many reasons. Forgiveness is letting go of hurt to make room for love. Forgiveness is a great character trait to have. Okay, boys and girls, that concludes our essay on forgiveness. And it also concludes our character study on the 100 Dresses.
Boys and girls, Honey is hoping that you enjoyed this lesson on opinion writing. Don't forget to join us again for more lessons in Mima's classroom.